Welcome to the Expansive with Anna Gatman podcast, where we talk about how to participate in the spiritual evolution taking place at this time on our planet, how you can accelerate your spiritual growth to meet the challenges of our times, and personal tools to help you thrive, flourish, and help shift human and planetary consciousness. Because 1 degree shift can change our world. I'm your host, Anna Gatman. Thank you for joining me. I want to talk today about the power of small 1 degree shifts compounded over time and how it can be so effective in producing real transformation in you and in your life, much more than going for big dramatic changes that might feel really good as you're doing them. Oh, I'm doing something really different. I'm finally changing my life. But after a week, you cannot sustain it anymore. And then there's failure, disappointment, and you kind of drop it. Oh, I'm not good at this. It's never going to work. So this is all about encouraging you to go for small 1 degree shifts compounded over time in order to see the effectiveness that they have and how powerful they can be and how satisfying they can be, because they give you the possibility to experience success, achieving your goal, because you're just going for something small but significant over time. And as you're going for it, you're succeeding 1 time, and you're succeeding a 2nd time, and you're succeeding a 3rd time, and then suddenly you've actually changed something because it's sneaked up on you versus this big decision, this big change, and then it's hard to sustain. So let's dig into it. So a few things just to create the context for it. So we live in a vibrational world, right? And so we're all vibrations. We're all fields of vibrations, and we call it consciousness. So you are a complex being of consciousness. And everything that you interact with, the environment where you live, the people you interact with, the job that you have, your hobbies, everything that you do, each of those are also, right, a field. We may experience it as dense if it's physical, but it's still a field that we're interacting with. And in our life, we've created a field of actions and interactions that produce a certain type of results again and again and again. And so when we want to make a change, we need to shift the vibrational field that we are in ourselves, shift within ourselves first, our perception of ourselves, but also we need to shift the environment that we're in, the relationship that we're in. And so it takes a few steps to do that, but the reward is so gratifying, really so much more than going for a big change that feels so exciting. It's like a new life, a new me, and then it's impossible to sustain it. So think, for example, you go on vacation. You leave your habitual daily routine and you go on vacation. It awakens a different part in you, parts maybe that are not nourished enough, balanced enough in your regular life. And so in your vacation place, maybe it's a different country, maybe it's just a weekend outing, but you're in a different environment and it brings out in you different parts. You might even decide, I'm going to be more adventurous this time when I go on vacation. I'm going to be more of an extrovert this time. And so you put in the effort because it's for 2 days or it's for 2 weeks, and you experience yourself differently and the world differently. You're in a different environment. And it can be very fulfilling, very nourishing, exciting, rejuvenating. And then you come back to your life. And while you feel refreshed and rejuvenated, you'll notice that you slowly are going back into what you had before. Most of the times, because you're living in this field that's vibrating at a certain frequency, and you're just responding to it and you're creating it, and you just end up in the same way you were before. And so while a vacation is needed and balance is needed, and it's great to say, I want to let go of my life and my habits and routines. I want to have a week of something different. That is a great thing to do. But it's hard to sustain it when you come back. If you wanted to sustain it, let's say you said, I'll be more adventurous. Trying to be more adventurous at home in your daily life, if you're not used to it, is much harder than when you go for a 2-day vacation or for a week to another country, and everything is different and you get to be somebody else and experience yourself in a different way. But 1 degree shifts, so small shifts compounded over time, can allow you to shift your habitual environment where you live. So I want to speak to the 1 degree shift in aviation that I write about in my book, Shift Calling. If a plane changes its direction by just 1 degree, it's very minimal. If it were to land at that time, immediately after shifting just 1 degree, there would be no difference. There would be no noticeable difference. It would land on the same place. But if that 1 degree shift in direction went on for 10 minutes, the plane would be 60 kilometers or miles away from its destination. So 1 degree shift, it's nothing, but over time, suddenly you're in a different place than where you were going before with just 1 degree shift. It's incredible. Compounded over time. Right now it's 10 minutes flying a different direction. So if it's going for more than 10 minutes for a few hours, the plane will end up in New York rather than in Chicago, for example, right? That is the power of 1 degree shifts compounded over time. And so imagine yourself taking small steps that feel like, okay, that's manageable. I can do that. You want the big result, but the big result demands a huge shift in yourself, in your perception of yourself, and a huge shift in your attitude, in your actions. And if you can go for it and say, I'm done with what I'm doing, I'm going to do this new thing and that's it, go for it. And if it can make the difference, which it will, because you're doing more than a 1 degree shift, you're doing a 180 degree shift. If you can sustain it, go for it. Go for it and enjoy the difference, the different view, the different angle of your life. It will change everything because now your relationship to all of your life has changed. But for most of us, it is really hard to go for those 180 degree shifts. And it is much easier to have the shift creep up on us by doing 1 degree shifts and just repeating them. And then the compounding effect, we're going to end up in a new place without noticing even. And it's like, wow, I changed something in myself. I really was able to do it. Because you are able to experience the successes, because all you're doing is something small and you succeeded and you succeeded and you succeeded, and it builds your confidence. And then the desire to do more, and you don't want to give up now because it's just a small shift in your thinking, in your attitude, in your perception of yourself, in your action. But you're shifting everything, and slowly you're not noticing that your relationship to your life, to your work, to your relationships, everything has changed. So let's just pick a few examples. Let's start with relationships. And this is an example for you. It might be something different, but what if you were to tell yourself, I appreciate intimacy in relationships. I appreciate intimacy in relationships. That's it. If this is right for you, if it resonates for you, go with it. If you're going to say it and then there's another resisting thought that's like, I'm scared, I don't trust, then it doesn't help. It just becomes an affirmation on the wall that doesn't work. But if it's something that you desire, more intimacy in relationships, and it feels like, oh, this is a small enough step just to say that. Start putting your attention into, I enjoy intimacy in relationships. And just saying that, the universe starts organizing around that. Because now you've put a vibration that is, I like intimacy in relationships, and you've put it out into the world, into your field. And now you're starting to reorganize into that statement. And you're starting to notice intimacy where there already was intimacy, but you didn't notice it before. Or suddenly an opportunity for intimacy shows up, and you get to practice this and see, oh, I'm comfortable, I'm not, I love this, oh, I don't know, I need some boundaries. You know, those small little shifts allow you to explore and course correct to another degree shift. If you go like, okay, I like intimacy, but of this kind, not of that kind. I like to have some boundary. You are working at your own pace rather than at some external pace of what the culture tells you, or you tell yourself. A critical part in you is telling you this is how relationships should be, right? So you can try that out. So let's pick another example. Let's go for finances, for wealth, for financial comfort, abundance. You could say a sentence like, I am a magnet for money. And if that feels like, ooh, I've never said it like this, it feels so right, then it's a very simple sentence, and start saying it and see what happens and how the world, compounded over time, changes for you to become a magnet for money. But if you say that sentence and you notice you have other statements that are going on, other tapes that are working at the same time, yeah, that's the right statement to say, I don't feel it, I don't believe it, happens to others, not to me, then that's not the right 1 degree shift for you. But if you were to say, I'm a magnet for money as a gratitude for the value I offer people, for the transformations they have. Ooh, that feels right to me. Does it feel right to you, or do you need to find something different for you? Now, I can say that sentence, and it's a small enough shift for me that, because I don't usually walk around and say that, right? So the shift is that I'll start saying it, and now I'm walking around and going, I give value. When people pay me, it's a gratitude it's an exchange of gratitude. I offer my value, and in gratitude, in our culture, I get financial remuneration, and this is how we exchange, and we pay our rent and our food and enjoy our lives as well. So you need to find this small shift that's going to be the right shift for you. And then compound it just day after day. Now, these are examples that have to do with saying statements, right? And those are small shifts that may just feel like a shift in what you say. But the universe organizes around you as you shift and say those. So I want to give you 2 other examples. So I'm an energetic person. Exercising has never been my thing. But as I'm growing older, more mature, I need to exercise. And I've been looking for different things, and I've joined clubs, and nothing works. It's too big. I go to the club, I go for a while, and then I don't feel like going anymore. It's too big a shift in my lifestyle. Well, I finally found this amazing person, and I follow their daily routine of stretches and strength building. It's 15 minutes a day of stretching, 15 minutes of strength. And he said, give me 4 weeks, you'll see the difference. Well, right now, I'm on week 7. Because the shifts were small, and the routine was small, and it was gentle, and it was for my age group. So it's not like I did one time 15 minutes and I could see the difference. But
I'm into week 7. And the biggest thing that has changed is that I have changed my routine. I have gone from not being able to stay or to stick with any exercise routine, and really a part of me that really wants to see myself as someone who's exercising and can stretch at my age and has stamina. And yet everything I tried was it was too big a shift from where I'm at. And these are small changes, gentle ways of exercising that were just right for me. And so, compounded over time, I am becoming someone who now feels like, wow, I can stick to a routine when it's the right one. I can do this. I can feel more flexible. I have stamina. I'm more flexible. I can do things that I couldn't do before. So that's an example of a physical action. Now I'll just give you one more example. And that is, I write the Mystical Moment messages once a week, or each week there's a message. And I pick a quality. And I picked the quality, this week was the quality of humor. Now I do see myself as a person with a good sense of humor, but I don't walk around humorous or playful and silly throughout my day. Most of the time I don't. I was going to write the message the following day, so I'd already decided on it. I'd found the image, which I thought was really humorous and cute, and so it was in my consciousness. And as I was doing other things, as I was going about my day, the quality of humor was with me, present, and I was connecting with it and trying to connect to its essence. Just that little shift, I started having crazy, ridiculous things happen to me. And I found myself, for example, laughing from my belly. And I thought, wow, that's because I just shifted my attention to the quality of humor. Another thing that happened is I kind of jumped to sit on the sofa, and I just hit my head on the wall. And I don't know what I did to have it happen. It hurt, but it wasn't on the corner. So it was just a big boom. But I just sat down and started laughing. How absurd is this? How did this happen? And I was just laughing because now my focus was on humor. And so I decided, okay, I'm just going to stay with humor, because if I'm going to start seeing the world through some silliness and some playfulness and some wit, then I'm going to enjoy my day and my week much more. So just focusing on a quality, saying this is the quality that I want to bring in, and having it in your awareness and connecting to its essence, that compounded over time can lighten up your day, your week, your month. So that's the power of small 1-degree shifts compounded over time. And so I just want to invite you to try this out in any area of your life, whatever you want to do. So you want to shift your attention, your focus to something specific. You want to pick the activity that you want to do, or the shift in attitude that you want to have, or in your mood, or a statement. You want to make sure that you're picking something that you don't have 3 other counter indications, like counter sentences or counter activities that are just going to make you fail, because then you're just stuck. So you want to really pick, as small as it is, you just want to pick the thing that's just right for you. I'm okay the way I am. I'm enough just like this. If this is what feels right for you, just start saying that. And you'll see how you will feel differently in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month, just by saying that. I'm enough just as I am. I'm okay just as I am. That is a very small shift. Compounded over time, it will really allow you to have a big transformation in your perception of yourself. And as that changes, it changes your view of the world and the interactions and the results that you have, and also the choices that you make, the decisions that you take. So you change your focus, your attention to whatever you want to focus on. You make it something that you can do and you can say, and it doesn't have anything that's countering it all the time, because that's where the failure is. And then you go for the small activity that you're going to do. You check your perception of yourself, because if your perception of yourself that is you cannot say this, or that you're not that person like who can exercise and go 6 weeks in a row exercising, I would have never thought of myself ever in my life being able to do that. And here I am on week 7. So a shift in your perception of yourself. And then just this compounding effect of the sweetest, easiest thing to do. And you can always pick another thing tomorrow or the next week, right? But you want to give it some time, right? So you can say, I'm lovable. And you can do that for a month. Or you can say, I'm lovable. I love myself another day. I love the world. So you could just pick however. It could be like a love practice, and you can change the word, just like my exercises are different every day. But I'm exercising for 15 minutes. So just try this out and see how powerful and effective it is. And most of all, it will take off the pressure of you needing to, the only way you're going to get what you're dreaming of or you want to achieve is through doing something really hard and big. No, make it as small as possible. And then once that is established, you can move on to something else, something bigger, take a bigger bite, but just go at your own pace and your own rhythm. And let me know. Let me know your experience. Blessings.